Now, coal seam gas is a pretty controversial topic, and just today the Tasmanian government has slapped another 5 years on their ban of fracking, which should make this next guest pretty happy.
Dayne Pratzky was all set to live out the Aussie dream, purchasing himself a block of land in Tara, central Queensland, and looking forward to one day starting a family. That dream, however, was cut short.
One day a guy drove down my driveway and said, "I'm Queensland Gas Company, we're going to sink a well down the back of your place, and if you don't like it, there's nothing you can do about it."
Australia is set to become the world's biggest gas exporter as more than 40,000 wells are sunk in Queensland, many of which require controversial fracking.
They all say it's safe. I have to live here.
What people really need to understand is that gas wells leak.
I think nearly every kid in this estate's sick.
There's nobody out there to help us.
Not impressed with what he was hearing and not wanting to give up his property so easily, Dayne unwittingly became an activist.
This coal seam gas industry is like an old car screaming down the highway with bad brakes and no reverse.
A new documentary, Frackman, shares Dayne's 5-year battle against the $70 billion coal seam gas industry in Queensland.
I'm the worst environmental activist this world's ever seen, but in the end, it was the only way to get something done.
I got a break.
And Dayne Pratzky joins us now. Dayne, thanks so much for coming on the program. Explain to us, how does a guy go from working as a logger, as an underground driller, to a greenie?
Well, a greenie, I think that's a bit strong, but I moved into Western Queensland, and what I found was the coal seam gas industry tried to come over the top of me, and they wanted to put some wells on my land, and I just refused to have it. So it turned me into a sort of a bit of a greenie, so to speak. But yeah, it was definitely a transformation that I wasn't used to, but it's got the job done, I think.
Dayne, congratulations on the movie. I think it's fantastic, but it is also the documentation of a really extraordinarily hard 5 years of your life. What were the sacrifices you made? What were the rewards? Was it worth it?
It has definitely been a very difficult battle, and look, I didn't get to see my grandfather on his deathbed because I was fighting the coal seam gas industry and you know, dragged through the ringer. The sacrifices have been high, but I'm hoping that they're not a waste. I hope people really understand what's happened to myself and what's happening to a lot of people in Western Queensland and throughout Australia.
Well, the industry has been halted in some ways. I understand Tasmania has just renewed a ban for 5 years, and there have been these moratoriums in place around the country. So I'm sure you're very happy about those things. But at the same time, it is an industry. It's not doing anything illegal as far as I can understand, and it's employing a lot of people. So shouldn't we be concerned about that?
Well, let's go to the employment. Let's, you know, look at some facts there. The industry claim in 2013 that they were employing around 100,000 people. The total new employment for 2013 Australia-wide was 173,000 people. So what we really have is inflated industry claims. Through the construction phase, there definitely was a lot of jobs, but now they're going to production. The jobs are gone, but the issue still remains.
It's, you know, uncomfortable. It's disturbing to see some of the health impacts in the film. Pro-frackers would say the health, you know, impacts are overstated, the environmental impacts are overstated. What would you say to that?
Well, look, I've lived with it, so I know. It's pretty hard when you see a grown man come down your driveway and say, "Hey, my kids are sick." I've seen kids' noses bleeding. I've seen rashes on animals, and I think what's very understated is the mental effects on people. The mental strain can become too much, and you know, it's a tough gig out there for the people dealing with it. It really is. Okay,
Dayne. Well, it's been interesting getting your thoughts tonight. All the best with it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me. Look forward to seeing it soon.
Sorry, I should just point out, Frackman hits cinemas on Monday. Details on where you can catch it on the Sites We Like page of our